Have you ever heard the phrase analysis paralysis? If you haven't, this is when someone overthinks the information they've been given, so much so that it prevents them from taking any action, or even coming up with the wrong conclusion based off the information. Now, we've seen this happen for years in Hollywood, and also it's starting to happen within the game industry as a way of reducing risk. And what we end up getting is just some watered down experiences, some kind of checklist, some checkboxes, and in the end, we aren't really remembering anything special. Final Fantasy XVI is not that. Final Fantasy XVI is a masterpiece. Now, ever since yoshi-p took over Final Fantasy XIV, it was clear that something was different about his team, and his impact on Square Enix had yet to be felt, but it was just around the corner. Now, since then, I've been saying, look to Final Fantasy XVI to see the fruits of that work. The reason Final Fantasy XV really wouldn't benefit from this change is it was already well and long into development. So here we are. yoshi-p has assembled his dream team around him, and he has made this game that will go down in history as a rival to that of the likes of Final Fantasy Tactics and even Chrono Trigger itself. And for me, this is apparent in every frame, every moment of gameplay, every cutscene, and every system. Final Fantasy XVI is intentional, and it is not restricted. Just like yoshi-p removing the Metacritic score that ties to the devs bonuses in Final Fantasy XIV, this has freed them to make art, to go in new directions, and yet also to remain faithful to what has come before. So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you legend, and thanks so much for coming and checking out today's video. There's a lot I want to talk about. I want to talk about combat, party members, storytelling, adult themes, and obviously PS5 exclusivity when it comes to Final Fantasy XVI, and why this game is most definitely worth your time and money. I'm not going to judge you if you're going to wait and maintain and hold out for a PC version. I think that is perfectly reasonable. But for those of you who are on the fence, considering picking up a PS5 for this game, or heck, even still on the fence about this game and you own a PS5, hopefully these words will help give you some something to look forward to. If you have not yet played the demo, go out and download it for yourself, see how it feels in your hands, and have as much fun as you like. The demo in and of itself is quite amazing. So today I want to give you guys my impressions and talk about why I feel 16 is a masterpiece. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it now. I've been calling it since the beginning of this year, and I don't think anything has changed. In fact, my feelings towards the game have only become stronger, and so let's go ahead and discuss. First and foremost, combat. I see the gamers out there pushing back on the concept of, oh, this is just a Devil May Cry. I don't want Devil May Cry, Devil May Final Fantasy and things like that. I don't see that at all. I think this is a Final Fantasy combat system, obviously because it's a Final Fantasy game. I don't think Final Fantasy's combat has ever been one thing, but for a lot of us it has been turn-based, but it hasn't truly been turn-based in a while. One of the weird things, let's just kind of call it out, is that they call this the first action combat system. So in a way, it kind of tosses shade at Final Fantasy VII-R and even Final Fantasy 15. One of the things I do plan to do is to dive into Final Fantasy VII-R as soon as I finish Final Fantasy 16, so I can talk about more of the differences of what I prefer. But we could always see Final Fantasy branch off in many different directions. If they were to come out with a pixel remaster, or heck, even an Octopath Traveler style version of Final Fantasy as its own kind of timeline branch, I would be all for it. I don't think Final Fantasy has to be action combat for everything. I don't think everything has to go in every direction or in one direction. I think ultimately what you want to see is a company that is invested behind this property and putting in their best effort, and that's what Final Fantasy 16 is. Final Fantasy 16 is yoshi-p's dream team. It's the team behind Heavensward, but it's also him going above and beyond and teaming up with knowledge, with the skills in the team and the people, putting the right people in the right place and empowering them to make awesome decisions. Every moment, every frame, every button press of the combat system feels fantastic. There's a few things I'm going to play around with the controller, and I'll be sure to give you guys that in a future video. So if you like Final Fantasy videos, if you like just gaming videos, well, you've already found the right spot. So thanks for coming in. Anyway, but every piece of this game bleeds joy. It bleeds just the sense of wonder. I cannot wait to experience the entire thing with each and every one of you, getting your own opinions, because whether you agree with me or not, that's not the point. The point is that we talk about what it is that we like, what it is that we thought they could do better. And if nothing else, that is always, I think, the fun part of what it means to be a content creator and somebody who gets to sit down and have the privilege to talk to you today about this beautiful, beautiful game. So combat, I actually love exactly what they're doing. I haven't really played around with the timeless accessories because I generally enjoy action combat, but I also enjoy turn-based combat. I just like games. And I think one of the things I appreciate about combat is it feels fully integrated, just like the magic system. It feels fully integrated into the world. Seeing people use magic for daily tasks, gathering water, lighting candles, I actually really enjoy that, to see how that plays out and to explore more of its magic system in the coming chapters, or whatever we're going to do with it, whatever they're going to call it. So I think I'm personally pretty excited to see how that plays out. But I want to talk about party members, because that's something that a lot of people also have been kind of concerned about. Obviously, you're controlling one character, and occasionally other party members join you, but you don't control them. My personal preference would be the Gambit system to be brought in and allow you to control your party members to a bigger degree, but that could slow down the game in a way. And I'm not going to fault it. Like, I'm, going to tell you hands down, in a Final Fantasy game, I like it when it's not just one character, but a party, a group of characters that you're building. You're kind of refining and shaping the entire team to become a dominant powerhouse. But this is one character, and in that vein, it is what it is. Do I fault the game for that aspect? No, because I don't think Final Fantasy should be restricted. I don't think Final Fantasy would have to say, hey, you need to have a party of at least 3 or 4 or 5 to be a true Final Fantasy. No, you can have just Clive. And the fact that, again, he gets teamed up with other people honestly takes me back to Final Fantasy IV, where you had party members rotate in and out, and in the end you ended up having your set team, and you get to see and experience some of these different ways of combat throughout the story. I actually really appreciated that. It made it so much fun to kind of see who's joining you and what they bring to the table. And then obviously, because, you play more than just Clive for a little bit, that in and of itself was really cool to see the difference, to feel the difference between these characters. So if they ever came back and said, hey, we're going to do party members in the future, absolutely would love it. I think the Gambit system is a really good option. However, but, like I said, I wouldn't mind them going also and bringing in new Final Fantasy pixel remasters or things of that nature to really kind of bring home that classic feel as well. Regarding storytelling, I said some big words in the intro. Final Fantasy Tactics, Chrono Trigger. This is that game. This is the evolution of me as a kid. You think of the Harry Potter series and how people kind of grew up with that series. I grew up with Final Fantasy, but honestly, it feels like Final Fantasy's been stuck for a little while, where Final Fantasy Tactics feels like a rich, deep story. Final Fantasy 12 as well. Not necessarily as adult as what we're seeing, but at the same time, the intrigue, all the different people at play, the different factions, the different, incentives, all of these things really kind of make this world come alive. And Final Fantasy 12, obviously, this is a long time ago. So I think Final Fantasy, the way that they're going about with the storytelling and how they're delivering it is truly, truly spectacular. Obviously, a lot of Game of Thrones references, and I'm not going to disagree with it. I just hope we see less, less cocks in this version. But I do appreciate kind of them stepping into in an unrestricted way to tell stories that kind of resonate with adulthood and less so much about, obviously childhood. And even though older Final Fantasies were able to allude to some things, I think the graphics bring that back full force, where you could allude to something in a pixel remaster, a sprite-based game, and it wasn't impacting your rating. So now that they kind of had to tone that down or have things happen off screen, where now we can kind of see and witness some things that are really quite shocking, if I don't say so myself. So that's where I'm going to put that in the storytelling. Absolutely fantastic. And then we talk about adult themes. I think this is where my concern will always be. I'm an advocate, I'm against porn. I think porn is a drug. It really can ruin your life. If you have a porn addiction, please seek help, reach out. If you even want to talk to me, I understand. However, I understand that the negative impacts that it can have on your life. So I am concerned with this game in terms of that adult theming. You might not be. I'm not judging you one way or the other. You can do what you want as an adult. But when it comes to adult themes, hopefully it isn't necessarily so overt like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, I enjoyed it with some exceptions where there was just things that I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to see this. This could be happening with clothes on. And ideally, we'll see some kind of, well, we'll end up seeing how that shakes out in the long run. I do not think this game is safe for kids already. But then again, it's kind of nice to have an adult game for myself. And then the final thought I want to kind of share with you is kind of on the PS5 exclusivity. If you have a PS5, I would not skip this game. Like if you already own a PS5, should you buy a PS5 for this game? That's a lot to ask. You guys got me a PS5. I was saving up for it. We were going to try to shop and see if we could find a used PS5. And then you guys sent me a PS5. So thank you. So I keep thanking you because it really is such a powerful gift that you have given me, because that helped offset the cost. Now I've gone nuts and I ended up getting the collector's edition. I got that before I even had a PS5. I paid for that months and months ago when I had that opportunity. And then I was like, okay, I'll save it for the PS5. But then ultimately you guys got that. But you think about that cost all in all is over $900 easy. Now, again, that's what I'm saying. Should you go out and spend the $400 or $500 just to play this game? If you're a fan like me, yeah, I don't think you're going to regret it. I think that there's plenty of other things on the PS5 that would be enjoyable. That's why this game is exclusive. It is exclusive to sell PS5s. But if you wait for PC, I got no judgment for you. Should this game have come to PC at the same time? Absolutely. But that check, hopefully, for Square Enix was so huge that we're going to see another Final Fantasy game of this caliber sooner rather than later. I think that's kind of the key aspect. So it is this, it is what it is. There's no word that I can say that magically makes it show up on PC, the same day here on June 22nd. But this game is definitely something that I think I will be picking up again on PC for the things that PC can do, that PS5 can't do. And we'll be sure to talk about that, obviously, here when that happens. Now, it's not easy to factor in risk. One of the things a lot of people kind of write off in life is the concept of risk. We do this all the time. It's like kind of with credit cards. One of the reasons how people get caught in credit card debt is they think they're going to do better tomorrow than they are doing today. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Some people can use a credit card without any issue, but the numbers literally show us that it is this massive trap. And when you hear about people with $5, $10, $20, $30, $90,000 in credit card debt, that's a massive, massive hole. My wife and I didn't have that much credit card debt, but we had a lot of student debt back in the day, and we paid off over $100,000 in student loan debt, which has freed us to do a lot of crazy things. Like one of those is to make a YouTube channel and not have to worry about lying to people about our thoughts, not to play to the algorithm or not to appease groupthink. I can tell you what I think. And at the end of the day, that upsets some people because I don't necessarily fall in line with what people want me to say. And that's okay. But that's one of the things that, we are as humans. We write off risk of our own lives so much. And that's one of the things I see that holds these games back, because they don't cost $20. They cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make. And it takes a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of resources. There's a lot of risk that's involved. So I want to say thanks to yoshi-p for taking that risk. Thank you to Square Enix for taking that risk. And in all of that, I hope that they're greatly rewarded for it so that we can see them continue to step into new stories, new systems, and create great Final Fantasy games for the long term. I like the Final Fantasy. I want Final Fantasy to be a game that's free to evolve. It's free to evolve from not just what it used to be, but free to evolve in our minds at what it could be and what the next one could be. And hopefully we'll see that come sooner rather than later. This is a perfect entry for new players. If you've never played a Final Fantasy game and you made it to this point in the video, you can absolutely step into this game and it's going to be a great experience for you. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy, been playing this whole time, you can absolutely step into this game and it's going to be a freaking awesome time for you. All that being said is that if this is your first Final Fantasy, you then have a lot of things that you can step into as well, especially when you think about what they're just offering on the store with Final Fantasy VII R, with Rebirth right around the corner, the pixel remasters themselves. You can truly dive in. So if this is a Final Fantasy that gets you to start, welcome in. I really hope you have a great experience. I myself haven't played through the remake yet, so I plan on doing that here in the near future. But I just want to sit here and give you guys these thoughts. Is it worth it? 100%. Will you regret spending $900? Not necessarily, but it is quite a price to ask. And thankfully, not everybody has to spend that. The game isn't, $400. That's just the physical collector's edition that I cannot wait to unbox and share with you guys as that comes in, hopefully here in the next couple of days. Who knows when that's going to show up on my door, but regardless, I'll be sure to keep you guys informed. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you. If you made it all the way into this video, sound off in the comments with what version of the Final Fantasy you've gotten. What is your favorite icon thus far in the game itself? And I can't wait to hear your thoughts about the demo. So sound off, we can have that conversation. Roll in through the weekend and into next week where we have the launch. And yes, I will be streaming it. But note my schedule's a little tight because of work, but because of Father's Day, my wife is giving me as a gift the ability to play and stream the game. So that way we can hang out, talk. You can see my reactions to whatever is to come. And yeah, without all that out of the way, I'm going to stop rambling and cut it here. Thanks guys so much for being here. Hopefully you enjoy your day. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.